Before we begin, if I can ask all of you to please join me in reciting a Surah Fatiha for your marhumin and for mine and for the Shohada of Islam, inshallah, and specifically the names I'm about to recite for you. Please include them also in your Fatiha. Marhum Sayyid Abid Raza ibn Sayyid Hakim Raza, Aziz Muraj ibn Afsar Muraj, Sayyid Hakim Raza, Alama Khatun, Sayyid Ya'sub Hassan, Nafis Fatima, Naim Fatima. Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون، الذي لا يدركه بعد الحمم ولا يناله غوص الفطن، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا، سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين، صاحب العصر والزمان، خليفة الرحمن إمام الإنس والجان، ولعن الله وأعداهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الله وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. We are gathered to remember two individuals who had lost their life and have now begun their barzakhi hayat and the life of the hereafter. We ask Allah to elevate the souls of the marhumin and to give the families the sabr jameel that is so often required to get through such tragedies. And I wanted to speak a little bit tonight, first of all, about the halat that we're in right now, and also to tie it back to a chahlu majlis like we are gathered here today for. Before I do that, a little bit of a background. In the Deen of Islam, there is a high emphasis on something called tafakkur, on contemplation, on introspection, self-thoughts. And I want to initially, in the first half of tonight's discussion, explore this idea of contemplation, okay? All of you in Detroit or wherever you are logged in from right now, you have enough ulama going in and out of Zainabiyya to know that this discussion on contemplation is heavily influenced or heavily emphasized inside of our ahadith, and there are verses of the Quran that talk about the idea, of tafakkarun and tadabbarun and all tadakkarun. Allah invites you to be the ahl fikr and the ahl dhikr. And while we have heard these, the reality is, how do we practically get through this idea of introspection? And more importantly, what do I think about? Like, what is it that the process entails? And why is it that when I attempt to begin the process of contemplation, I get stuck, or I stop, or I run? I want to examine that initially. Because no doubt, even within Western psychology and Western philosophy, there is a high emphasis on the beauty and the importance of introspection, self-thoughts, contemplation. But they also label it as one of the most difficult acts to do as a human being. Why is that? Let's examine that tonight. First of all, let's understand a few things. That where there is the unknown, there's a little bit of anxiety. Where there is fear, there's anxiety. Where there is something that we don't know, there is also fear. So all these things are together connected. Like right now in this Corona COVID-19 era that we live in seclusion, it would have been such an honor for me to be there in person at Zainabia or someone's house in Detroit, excuse me, to meet a lot of my friends, my relatives, and the individuals. But unfortunately, that's not possible. So we are using this technology right now for me now to be able to relay this message to you. I didn't realize how much I missed my Detroit, mashallah, family, my Detroit community until I heard Muttaqi Bahai and his beautiful salam/marsiya. And I realized that, I missed that voice of Muttaqi Bahai and several others as well. And so I pray for all of you. I really pray that all of you are safe and sound and healthy and smart right now, and that all of your loved ones are well. And if anybody, God forbid, has tested positive or is struggling in their health, Allah grants them shifa, inshallah. But the reality is that we don't know what's going to happen. Even tomorrow, every day seems like it brings a new number or seems like it brings some new laws. Now there's discussions about a May 1st idea or flattening the curve or once again restarting the economy. And now this whole idea of sports leagues and starting sports again in an empty arena. All this stuff is the unknown to us. Even the ones who claim to know, they don't know themselves. And because there's unknown, there's also fear and anxiety. And when there's fear and anxiety, there's panic. When there's panic, then people become instinctive beings. And so they will hoard in the grocery shops. They will price gouge if you are a vendor, right? All because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. If everything is locked down, the front door cannot be open, even to go to groceries or to medical supplies or whatever the case may be. And now everything is deemed non-essential. Then do I have enough right now to last? And the fact that, oh my God, what if I run out of toilet paper? What if I run out of, I don't know, tandoori masala? What if I run out of, I don't know, this and that? What's going to happen? So what do? We hoard, we panic, because anxiety breeds the idea of panic, and the unknown breeds the anxiety. That's just how we are, right? If we don't know something, we fear it. And because that fear now automatically instigates our anxiety. Now, there are some people who are able to handle this mental health issue, others not so much. So all they ever talk about is they read on social media, And I would humbly ask you as a brother and a son of yours to please, not only should you socially distance, you should social media distance as well. Put the phone down for a while, spend time with your children and your spouse and your parents and your siblings, please, and really focus on this opportunity to be alone with the right people that you should be alone with, okay? Don't worry about flattening the curve. Don't worry about how many new cases, let's say in New York City, or how many new cases globally, what's happening in Italy and China and Iran and Spain, et cetera, et cetera. It's good to be informed, but sometimes there's so many things out there, a person becomes a little bit overwhelmed, and the anxiety builds and the BP builds. We end up saying, kya hoga? So many people calling me, Muharram ke liye kya hoga? I have no idea what's going to happen in Muharram. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or the month of Ramadan for sure now. No one's going anywhere. So this is all going to be a Zoom Ramadan or Skype Ramadan. Anyways, the point is, initially, in order for me to understand the concept of contemplation, I must go backwards, understand the unknown breeds anxiety, breeds fear. It's all kind of together related. Okay, that's on one side. Now let's come to the process. Okay, the process is what? The process of contemplation is the process of me turning inwards. Okay, and going deep, deep down inside the heart of my hearts of my hearts. And that's ultimately when realities come about, when this enlightenment comes about, when awareness comes about. All that comes about when we have a moment to examine ourselves deep down inside. So many examples of people surrounded by darkness, and they come out enlightened. They come out aware. They come out as a source of light for themselves and for the path of others as well. Okay? If this process produces such beautiful results, why is it so hard? I ask my youth out there especially, right now, hopefully a lot of you are at home, I really hope. And if you are a frontliner right now as the viewers, the utmost respect for you, my du'as for you, be it in the medical field, be it a driver, be it a cashier at a grocery store. If you are on the front lines, may Allah protect you. It's the utmost service right now. And my du'as are with you and your family. For those of us who have the luxury of working from home, and it's a luxury to still be employed and still work from home, that morning commute is no longer there. That morning getting ready is no longer there. But I want to take you all the way back pre-pandemic to when you were commuting an hour a day, sometimes 2 hours a day, and you yourself and you inside the car driving to work. If I was to ask you for a moment, shut off the radio, shut off the devices, focus on the drive, but at the same time now, begin now to think about those things that are deep down inside of you, I don't know how many of us would be willing to do that for the hour drive. After 5-10 minutes, it becomes eerily quiet inside the car. And to drown that, we turn the radio on, right? The news radio, hopefully, but the radio on, right? Or something to kind of drown out my thoughts. Okay, there's an element of fear there. And I'll get to that in a moment. So what we do is that we create a little bit of a circle around us. And so long as I reside inside that circle, I'm okay. All right, it's my comfort zone. If I begin to approach the boundaries of that circle and now enter a potential unknown, the fear now dictates to me to go back inside the circle and be in your comfort zone. The example I'll give you is a child. A child, when you take your children to the park, let's say, okay, for example. Or, right now in my area, all my parks are closed, okay? So sometimes a few days a week when the weather is warm, lately it hasn't been, when the weather is warm here in Toronto, where I'm from, where I'm from live right now with all of you, I take my kids out for a walk. We all go for a walk every so often, okay? And my 4-year-old, the moment I open the door, he dashes right out, okay? It's like a prisoner who's been given daylight for a few hours a day, okay? He runs and he runs and he runs. I'm looking at him, he's running. He's not even turning back until he hits a certain area or he hits a certain distance from me, he stops. He looks back. Baba's still there? Yeah, okay. So while he was running, there was a moment where inside of him, he told himself, wait a second, maybe I'm going too far from Baba. So this distance from Baba is getting further and further away. There was something that told him, whoa, that's too far, stop, turn around, and go back. And then he'll run back towards me, meaning he'll run back towards his comfort zone being me, okay? And as the person gets older and that same child getting older and older and older, that circle gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Now they can go days without seeing their parents. They can have sleepovers, go for trips, for example, right? Or travel with one parent or stay home with another parent. The comfort zone now increases, right? Because as they become more mature and more wiser and they are kind of thrusted out into society, what they thought was a fearful unknown actually is not a fearful unknown to begin with. And then you get to the point where you become an adult, okay? Mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, early 40s, and you kind of set into this comfort zone, okay? And those elements of change where things were new to you when you're 18, 19, 20, 21 are no longer there anymore. Things have have begun settling now. You don't feel this need to go out and travel the world anymore. Don't feel the need to try this or try that anymore. No, you don't. Everything now becomes a comfortable routine, right? Part of the reason why people are going a little bit crazy right now is because the routine is gone. The kids are home. The husband is home. Oh my God, the husband's home. The husband's home all day long, right? Usually I'm used to the idea, if I'm a stay-at-home parent, be it a mom or a dad, that the kids are gone to school and my spouse is gone to school and I'm at home with myself for a couple of hours, very peaceful, very nice. Now everyone's at home. And that routine is gone. The kids are waking up when they want to. They're going to bed late. Homeschooling. I have 3 kids right now, grade 6, grade 1, kindergarten. I'm homeschooling my wife and I, all 3 of them, because I have to. It is a challenge, no doubt. Everything's upside down right now. And you can embrace it and welcome the new normal, or you can be anxious about it, and your BP is rising constantly, okay? As you get older, that circle of the comfort becomes more concrete, okay? Your willingness to venture outside that circle is no longer there, Like, okay, I'm fine. Meeting new people, trying new things. I don't know, new trips, bungee jumping, jumping out of a plane. No, thank you. I'm, been there, done that. You ask an 18-year-old, yeah, I would love to go to Thailand, Malaysia, I don't know, Singapore, Spain. Let's say, for example, go see, let's say, for example, Japan. Yes. Me, ask me right now. No, I'm good. I'm a homebody. I like my home, alhamdulillah. Go to the center, come back. Go to someone's house, comes back. Go to Detroit, come back. I'm good, alhamdulillah. That's about it. My comfort zone is my comfort zone. As you get older, the comfort zone becomes more and more comfortable. And we fall into this comfortable routine in my life, okay? Now, along comes a process called contemplation. That's asking you now to venture outside of that comfort zone and begin to trigger change. Please follow me. Part of the reason why the Ahlul Bayt and why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inside his verses of the Quran is constantly inviting us, أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ أَفَلَا تَدَبَّرُونَ, right? The ulil albab, for example, the people of deep understanding, right? When describing the people of Jannah, Allah says, وَلَهُمْ قُلُوبًا لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا. They have hearts, nothing resides deep inside. Nothing goes deep, it's all surface level. What Allah wants you to do is trigger that change. Be somebody who's in a constant form of islah and reform and change and elevation and climbing up the ladder of spirituality. That requires you to travel a little bit into the unknown. And sometimes we don't like that. I'm good where I am. I don't know, please very carefully now, I don't know what awaits me if I travel outside of my comfort zone. And whatever that comfort zone is very individual. The same way that my 4-year-old for some reason stopped, turned around, looked at Baba, then came running towards Baba, something triggered him. Maybe that was his personal comfort zone. We also have lived our life right now, to my elders right now in the audience, to a certain level. Now, comfortable. If someone like me who's very much younger than some of you comes, let's say on the member, on the pulpit, say, you know what, this is what should be done, that is what should be done. You think, okay, that's good, right? Like in Hamara Zana, I'm done now, I can go ahead and I can, this is for those younger generation. No, it's for you too, uncle. No, thank you. I'm good where I am. Changing me is very difficult. You can't, teach an old dog tricks. Not that my elders are dogs, I'm sorry, but you know what I mean. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Comfort zone. Okay, now along comes the idea of invitation for change. Change in the advancement level, like you're progressing, you're getting better, you're reforming yourself. And sometimes for us, that's scary. It's scary. It's scary to venture out. I don't know if I start wearing hijab tomorrow, I have no idea how my family will react, my siblings, my extended family, my chachas, my tayas, my chachis, my first cousin, no idea. How people at work will respond, how people at school will respond. All those are unknown to me. The unknown is scary. I don't want to go outside my comfort zone, so I'm good where I am. I'm okay. I've gone my whole life without wearing hijab. I can go my other second half without wearing hijab. If I decide to grow a beard, if I decide to, I don't know, stop listening to music, or stop going to this party, or stop attending those weddings, or stop doing this, I'm afraid of the reaction of what's going to happen. So what happens is, the moment that I venture to the surface of change, to the boundary of change, I'm very close to change, the unknown scares me and I retreat. I retreat back to the comfort zone. And I become, you know what, I'm good. And then you become spiritually complacent. Meaning what? You're comfortable where you are. I'm okay where I am. Okay? Because I get it. The difficulty in contemplation and introspection is that you're bound to identify your own deficiencies. You're bound to identify some remorse, some regret, some shame, some embarrassment towards who? Not towards me or you or your parents, towards God himself. It's very hard for me to walk into a room filled with my mistakes, filled with my shame and my regret and my remorse. So what do? I close the door, I lock it, I never enter that room. But contemplation is to go in sometimes and walk through that room, knowing full well on the other side of that room is your success. So literally, we are pulled by two different factors, one of fear and one of success. Fear says stay where you are. Success says break the barriers, break open the comfort zone, and come and begin to wear hijab. Come and begin to contemplate. Come and begin to see, where are my holes? Right? We cover up our holes. We turn on the radio. I don't want to be alone with my thoughts. It's scary to be alone with your thoughts. And now in this pandemic era, in this era of seclusion, isolation, quarantining myself, I have all this time now, extra time at least, right? To sit there on the musalla, and people like me wearing libas like this are telling you, think about what's going on. Contemplate now. Start that element of change, such that when everything else goes back to normal, the one thing that's not normal is you. You have used this time of isolation to reform yourself. Just like the Prophet of Allah in Cave of Hira, just like Prophet Yunus in the belly of the whale, just like the people of the cave inside the cave. And so many examples like that. Okay? In isolation, people have come out enlightened. They've come out aware, revolutionized, reformed, but it took a little bit of some alone time, some uncomfortableness to be able to get to that reality. Sometimes, I'll tell you what, sometimes we think that because it's uncomfortable for me, it's wrong for me. Sometimes we think that because this process makes me uneasy, it's not a good process for me. And don't buy into it. It's a very Western approach, I'm sorry. The Quran is very open by saying, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌ لَكُمْ. It could be, the Quran says, that you love, adore something, but it is horrible for you. It could be that you despise something. It's actually good for you. So this black and white binary 1 and 0 process, that if it feels good, it has to be good. If it feels bad, it has to be bad. No, sometimes we can be uncomfortable and growing in the process. Now, why do I say all this? I say all this because the barriers of contemplation are not outside of us. They're all inside of us. So self-knowledge, understanding yourself, is one of the barriers, or one of the tools to remove those barriers. I'll tell you what the dangerous part is. If we don't begin to stop and think about what's going to happen, what's happening, and I pray to God that in this situation, where the entire world now has been brought to its knees by one virus, you understand just how perishable this dunya is. Okay, all the money in the world that your country has, the superpower, the great power, the great USA, that is not able to stop the spread of this virus inside its own country. All that money, all those brains, all those resources, for what? They're in the exact, if not, they're in a worse off boat than those of the third world countries. So at least now, hopefully, I'm praying that for me and my family, at least now we stop and think, whoa, this is possible. It's possible that one entity brings the entire world down, right? I mean, I don't know about all of you, but for me, this is unprecedented. To have no sports, to have no access to the center. Everything is online. I'm home. Like, as much as my family loves the fact that month of Ramadan is starting next week, and I'm home for the first time in many, many years. I'm not traveling around the world. Month of Ramadan, it's great. It's unprecedented. It's bound to trigger some thought. Now we can embrace that thought, or we can shove it down, deep down inside, and hope and hope and hope that I'm in my comfort zone. Meanwhile, this opportunity now for change is passing us by, because there will come a time we'll look back at this time of isolation and say, hey gosh. I had time with my kids. I had time with my spouse. I had time with my parents and my siblings. If you live in the same house, I had so much time to really build my marriage back up, right? To fix my marriage, to fix me and my child, to fix myself. And we just spent that time binge watching. We spent that time on TikTok. We spent that time doing this and doing that, watching this drama and that drama for 6-7 hours a day. Meanwhile, that fursat and that opportunity is going by bit by bit by bits. And the process of self-knowledge is contemplation. Without contemplation, we end up giving those internal values to an external world. We allow those things outside of us to dictate the things inside of me. And that's the problem. My faith, my identity, my validation, my value, my love, everything that should be me is actually given to those outside of me. I'm too scared to travel inside, so I stay outside. You tell me what my faith is. You tell me if you accept me. You tell me if you validate me. You tell me if I should love myself. Meanwhile, all those things are where? Inside. Imam Ali says there is an alam akbar inside of you, Baba, a grand universe inside of you. Everything you're looking for right now, the sickness and the cure, the virus and the vaccine are all not outside, inside. Alam akbar inside of you. It's a matter of us turning back inside and traveling sometimes in this very uncomfortable realm known as me. Because part of the process and the result of when we do finally have the himmat and the taqat and the qudrat and the sabr to enter this uncomfortable realm of contemplation, we're bound to think about life in the hereafter. And part of the beauty of majlises like these, of Chehlom and Barsis and Chamais and Daswa and Piswa inside of our Indian Pakistani culture, is the fact that we're at least able to sit here and remember those who have passed away, hoping one day we'll understand there'll be a Chehlom Majlis for me as well. And while they have moved on to their Hayat Barzakhi, I'm still left in this world. I'm also going to go through that same journey as they have just gone through. Am I ready for that journey or not? Because death, as the Quran and Surah Jummah, the khutbah, I read for you in the khutbah, I had the sharaf for starting in the khutbah, talks about maut. That same maut that you do farar from. فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ. There is a mulaqat, there's a meeting between you and death. What a beautiful way to describe death. It's a mulaqat. Mulaqat, just like Urdu. You're going to meet death. And before any meeting you have, be it with your friend or your sibling or your coworker or your boss, there's some preparation. If you know that meeting is held next week, next Friday, let's say, for example, with the CEO of your company, you'll prepare, you'll dress accordingly. Right? Are we prepared for this mulaqat with death or not? Because the verse goes on to say that mulaqat will take you back to the alim and the shahid, meaning Allah, and He will show you what? He will show you فَيُنَبِّئَكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Not ta'alamun, ta'amalun. The meme and the lam have swapped, meaning He will show you, death will show you what you have done in this world, not what you know in this world. There's a big difference. We know a lot up here, thousands of hours of majalis about Abdullah al-Hussein, tons of ahadith, tons of nuskhe, tons of prescriptions, tons of amali maidan discussions. How much of it have I allowed to enter inside of my system or not? A lot up here. How much has descended to my heart? How much has been actually in my practice? Because when you enter that world, now the veils are lifted. No space, no time. That is the world of hisab. Imam Ali says, this world is the world of amal. This is the world of amal. Right? That's why when a man approached Imam Muhammad Baqir, alayhi salatu wasalam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, he says, Yabna Rasulullah, please pray for my death. I'm tired of this dunya. Like sometimes when I say to my elders, Khuda aapko lambi hayat de, may Allah give you a long life. He goes, nah, Baba, aise dua mat karo yaar, please. Mujhe lambi hayat nahi chahiye. I don't want lambi hayat. I said, I go, no, uncle, auntie, aisi baat nahi. Don't ever do that. Imam Muhammad Baqir says this, man, don't ever pray for a speedy death. Always pray Allah gives you one more day to gain His forgiveness and tawbah in this world. After going in that world, your kitab amal is closed. The one chapter open is your sadqa jariyah, be it your awlad or the mosque or some donation or some well or some school, that's fine. But your own amal, your own kitab amal is closed. And then your hisab begins. And either that hisab in barzakh is a minor jannat or minor jahannam. Right? It depends on our amal. Sometimes we think, and this point's my last, and then we'll move towards Masaib. Sometimes we think that In my grave right now, there are either serpents, or there is fire, or there is this, or there is that. Or sometimes we think, if we're really, really bold, that there is a khushbu, there is a scent, there's ittar, there's flowers, there's a bed, there's this palace waiting for me. The reality is our grave is empty right now. It's empty right now. It will be filled with whatever we put inside of that grave. Whatever we take from this world. Whatever is inside of our suitcase. We go to Hajj for 3 weeks and we pack everything from unscented soap to chappals to God knows what else, to this and that, to snacks, to dried fruit, to granola bars, everything for 21 days inside of Hajj. For an eternity of a safar, what does our suitcase look like? Because the Holy Prophet says that when a mayyat goes to the qabristan, 3 things go with that mayyat. Ma'luhu wa ahluhu wa amaluhu. His wealth goes with him, his family goes with him, his amal go with him, his deeds go with him. He says 2 come back from the qabristan, 1 remains. His mal, his wealth come back, his family come back. What remains in the qabr with him are his amal. And those amal are years and years and years of life in this world that is going to perish. Kullu man alayha fan, everything will perish. So my brothers and my sisters, not only are we in a moment of isolation and seclusion, prime time, behtareen mawqa for contemplation, tafakkur, for khud sazi and self-building. Look inside yourself, begin the process. But on top of that, now we are in a chahlu majlis right now, remembering those 2 marhumeen. And maybe while we grieve with the family and send our ta'ziyat and % condolences, we also stop and think that one day there'll be a chahlu majlis for me as well. Am I ready to embark myself on that journey or not? If you're not, if I'm not, this is the prime time to do so. The world is shut off from outside of us, and we are now within our world inside of us, exactly where we want to be. Allah now has removed himself from the mosque and the masajid and the centers and has made his way inside of our hearts. Let's open up the doors of the hearts and let's allow Allah inside of this heart of his. Al-qalbu haramullah wa la tuskin haramullah ghayrullah. Imam Sadiq says the heart is the haram of Allah, the sanctuary of Allah, and fala tuskin haramullah. Do not allow anything to live and reside in that haram ghayrullah, except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Muttaqi Bhai had read a salam on Abu al-Fazl al-Abbas and Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. With your permission, it's the month of Sha'aban. It's a month, no doubt, of celebration. We are now about to enter the month of Allah. Like in just 2 minutes of Musa'ib on Abu al-Fazl and Imam Hussein, inshallah, and then iltimas dua. Thank you very much for your sabr and for your patience. We know that Abu al-Fazl was the alamdar of Imam Hussein's army. Our books tell us that the last few moments before Amir al-Mu'mineen was about to pass away, the Hakim had come and he had checked on Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said, Mawla, the zahar now has gotten everywhere in your body. It's now time for your nasihats to your children or to whoever you want to give to around you. Our books say that for everybody, Imam the Hanafiya, his other ashab al-sir who were around him, they all placed their hand inside the hand of Imam Mujtaba. This is your second Imam, this is your second Imam. Everyone come and protect him, everybody come look after him. When he was done, there was the sound of somebody crying in the corner of the room. He says, who is crying in the corner of that room? Who is right now weeping like this? Banin says, Mawla, it's Abbas. Abbas is crying. He calls Abbas forward. Abbas, why do you cry? He says, Baba, Mawla, you place everyone's hand in the hand of Hassan, but you didn't place my hand in anyone else's hand. Imam Ali begins to cry, calls Abu Abdullah al-Hussein forward, says, Abbas, everybody else is for Hassan, but you, Abbas, is for my Hussein. And on the day of Ashura, Imam Hussein now is approached by Abul Fazl time and time again. Mawla, give me ijazat. Mawla, give me ijazat. Mawla, give me ijazat. When finally he was given ijazat, it wasn't for war. It wasn't for any battle. If you want to go, Abbas, do you hear the ala atash from the tents? Go and get water for the children. Abbas now roars himself to the Furat. Inside the khayma, a 4-year-old Sakina, my chacha Abbas is going. My Ammu Abbas is going to get water. She gets the small kids. Water is coming, don't worry. Water is coming, don't worry. Abbas fills the mushk of Sakina, makes his way back. There comes a moment now when now the mushk of Sakina is empty. His arms are cut. There's an arrow in his eye. He begins to fall from the horse. At that moment now, I remember one riwayat, Alama Majlisi Rahmatullah alayhi says that one night I read the Masaib of Abul Fazl Abbas. And I saw a dream. In that dream, Shahzadi Kaunain Fatima Zahra came and said, Majlisi, you read the Masaib of my Abbas. You didn't read the Musibah of my Abbas. Shahzadi, I read whatever I could. What is the Musibah of your Abbas? With tears in her eyes, Fatima says, Majlisi, tell those who are listening that when somebody falls from a horse, they use their arms to break their fall. The Musibah of my Abbas is that he never had arms to break his fall. Assalamu alayka, Ya Aba Abdullah. Imam Hussein goes roaring inside, picks up the head of Abbas, cleans the eyes out. What is your akhri khaish, Abbas? Hey Mawla, my akhri khaish is leave my body at the banks of Furat. I don't want Sakina to see me. Imam Hussein returns back to the khayma. Bibi Sakina comes running out. She sees the alam. She doesn't see the alamdar. Turns towards Furat. Ammu Abbas, Chacha Abbas, your Sakina is not thirsty anymore. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept this qaleel ibadat, inshallah. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if this gathering, if this majlis had earned any of your thawab, that you send it to the marhumin, inshallah. We ask you, Allah, to grant the families of the marhumin this patience and this forbearance to tackle this difficulty. We ask you, Allah, for those who are sick all over the world, be it our brothers in faith, our equals in humanity, that you grant them shifa, inshallah, protection from this virus and any virus of the body or the soul, Allah. We ask you, please grant us that protection. Everything we do for the arrival of your hujjah. We ask you, Allah, make us worthy and make us isqabil of the zuhur of Imam Zamana. If you can please join me one more time in reciting the names of the marhumin, I will be very grateful to you, please. So please join me in reciting Surah Fatiha one more time. For marhum Sayyid Al-Abid Raza ibn Sayyid Hakim Raza, marhum Aziz Muraj ibn Afsar Muraj, marhum Sayyid Hakim Raza, marhuma Alima Khatun, marhum Sayyid Ya'asub Hassan, marhuma Nafis Fatima, marhum Na'im Fatima.